Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, and this is my first ever 172nd annual Marischal debate, so I am really delighted to be here for the first time. And for such an easy to that it will be so easy for me, where I will make the case that we do have faith in the Scottish Government. So just to address some of the points that have been said previously, I'll pick up Andrew Bowie's one first of all. The 12-week treatment time apparently has never been met. Well, over 2 million inpatients and day cases have benefited from the 12 weeks treatment time guaranteed since it was introduced, with 85.9% being seen in 12 weeks. Again, 45,564 treatment time guarantee patients have been seen, up from the previous quarter. 38,000. Yeah, I can keep going with these statistics, but it's just to, I'm just here addressing facts with Andrew's inaccuracies. And again, our economy. Andrew, you mentioned that our economy is failing. Well, may I add, to help protect jobs, and what I would mention, through Tory austerity, the Scottish Government slashed or abolished business rates for over 117,000 premises, saving small businesses and around 2 billion today. This is amidst Tory austerity, which has made it very difficult. And in 2015, Scotland became the first government in the UK to become an accredited real living wage employer. That's the government I'm putting my faith in, that's there for the workers. And Scotland is this top destination in the UK outside of London for foreign direct investment. And just before I start my point, children from disadvantaged backgrounds in schools and not making it in, but a record 260,490 students enrolled at Scottish universities in 2019 and 2020. And the latest statistics from the Higher Education Agency show we have met key commission on widening access targets to have 16% of students from the most deprived areas of Scotland by 21. Now, on to my main points. As my colleague Richard Thompson mentioned, this is indeed a tale of two governments. And for me, it's one I can put my faith in, and then there's one that we can't. One that has given us progressive policies, equality of opportunity, such as free education, access to healthcare, free prescriptions, like my colleague Richard Thompson has pointed out, and one that has imposed damaging ones that we did not vote for. I can put faith in a government that prioritises measures that reduce poverty and inequality and increase welfare over one that prioritises nuclear weapons and measures that see a cut to welfare, such as the austerity. Andrew and Neil, you've talked a big game about the poverty situation in Scotland and how it has failed. Well, there is a reason that progress on poverty is more likely. There is a reason that progress out of poverty is more likely in Scotland with the Scottish Government than the rest of the UK, bar Ireland. And I'm going to cite a report by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation that showed that someone in Scotland and England can earn the same, have the same level of education, but lower rents in the social housing sector, and Scotland having a higher proportion of social means the person in Scotland is less likely to be in poverty. And the report also shows that actions by the Scottish Government, such as building nearly 90,000 affordable homes for more than a decade, child poverty legislation, we are seeing measures such as child payments, the baby box, expansion of free childcare, and we didn't have to fight so hard for free school meals like what we saw in Westminster, which is laughable. You had to have a football player literally begging for that. So the Scottish Government has clearly considered being proactive and enforced poverty and inequality reducing measures, despite what I will say austerity cuts enforced by Westminster. To me, the Scottish Government is a government that has done more to address poverty and inequality, including being the first to support a free period products bill in Parliament. Something that the UK government, when are you going to bring that up? I don't know. And the impact of Brexit, with exports from the UK to the EU falling by 68%. Another thing that we did not vote for, that we have been fighting against. We lose from Erasmus, which I will mention that the speaker before me, Andrew Bowie, could not deny on live TV the impact of Erasmus will have on our young people, robbing them of opportunities. And Brexit has sold out the fishing industry as well. And the Scottish Government has opposed all this. It was the UK government that enforced this. I know where I can put my faith in. The Scottish Government has delivered during the pandemic response, being Nicola Sturgeon, where the polls are showing that the Scottish Government, led by Nicola, is more trusted to lead our recovery from the coronavirus than the Westminster Government under Boris Johnson, who sees as something that he will decide to put the economy first rather than the lives of the people. I think I'd rather put my faith in a government that considers my life as more beneficial, as more important than the economy, using prioritizing schemes that seem to pump more money into the economy for their rich friends rather than actually extending the furlough scheme. So to me, those are facts that I consider. And if you want to talk about fair, if you want to talk about a government that's progressive, if you want to talk about one that has its, to me, that is the Scottish government. So that's all I'll have to say for my time. And thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
So, Fatima, you've spoken publicly about the lack of diversity and lack of representation in the Scottish Parliament, government even, I should say. What solutions do you see achieving a more diverse and representative Scottish Parliament and government?
Well, thank you for that, because that is a really important question, considering me and my friend, we like talking about this all the time, considering that we do live in a postmodern capitalist economy, and that's based on the representative democracy principle. And if you look at our parliament, self-evidently, our current parliament is not reflective of the community it should represent. And this hurts us because it results in a democratic deficit that fails us all. And so change is absolutely required. We are talking about making policies. We're talking about implementing decisions that are going to impact a diverse range of people in our multicultural society. And when you have those voices missing at the table, how are you going to ensure that no one slips through the cracks? How are you going to ensure that no one is reduced to a going to avoid the rippling impact it's going to have on everyone else who can sit there and feel that it's not going to hurt them, but it will do. So I have spoken in the past about the need where we're not in a meritocracy. We don't live in a meritocracy. That's why I have spoken in the past for a need for us to need to force some policies through. And that's why I believe so much in things like quotas, which I know, having spoken to Andrew Bowie's colleague, Alexander Burnett, the Conservatives don't believe in quotas. And when I've spoken about gender quotas in the past in particular, that they'd rather tackle the root causes of inequality. Well, I'd say start from the decision making, because that's where the problem actually starts. When you're having people who are far removed from the country's problems, who are far removed from the country issues, making these decisions, how on earth are they going to know exactly what to do? So pushing things like quotas, putting a lot of the pressure on political parties to ensure that we do have a representative parliament, because I always say it's within the power of parties to ensure that parliament looks like the country it represents. And across society, across different sectors, ensure that we are drawing upon the widest pool of talent. And that is not hard, and it's not controversial to make society more inclusive. I think there's just reluctance to do so. And the reluctance comes from pushing policies that some people fear are controversial. Well, actually, they're not. There is a lot of discussion to have, and we must remain in this discussion to ensure that we're doing everything we can to draw upon every aspect of society, making sure we can still have the best people at the table, but it can be representative at the same time, and that ensures that no one's left behind.